Hi, and welcome to the Reiki from the Farm podcast, brought to you by me, Pam Allen-LeBlanc from Hidden Brook Farm. I am a scientist, a businesswoman, and a licensed Reiki master teacher with the International Center for Reiki Training. Each week in this podcast, you'll be entertained as you learn about a wide variety of relevant Reiki topics, helping you become a more knowledgeable and effective Reiki practitioner. We caution you, though, this podcast may also dramatically improve your life, and we are so happy that you're here. On this week's podcast, I am so excited to speak with Su Machado, one of our licensed teachers from Brazil. Welcome, Su.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here with you, Pam.
Thank you, Su. Su is a lawyer, or she has been a lawyer. She's also a licensed Reiki master teacher, and she's currently our historian with the ICRT. She also just put together a wonderful conference in Brazil that I was lucky enough to be part of. So we just have lots to talk about today. Before we get too far, I just wanted to let you know what we have coming up at the farm and at the Bay. First off, the month of August at the Bay is going to be wonderful. We've got a full week of courses in all three different topics that I normally teach. I have a level 1 and 2 in master class, a 1 week, the second week of August, the third week of August, I think it is. I have a animal level 1 and 2 in master class, and following that is animal communication level 1 and 2 and master teacher. So in between each of those classes, we're going to take a day so that I can show you the island the Monday after the weekend class and before the master classes begin. I want to take you to Eleanor's Tea. This is the island of Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, so that you can learn a little bit more about them and their life, and we'll tour their 19-bedroom cottage. We're going to go whale watching, although sometimes we actually see whales I just showed Sue the view here, and sometimes we see whales right from the living room or the porch. We're also going to take a hike and have a meal together. So I just really want to show you around this beautiful island with the highest tides in the world. In September, I'll be speaking actually in June, I'll be speaking at the Omega Institute. If you haven't signed up for the Wisdom of Reiki conference, I hope you will. I would love to see you there, meet you there in person, along with some of the not other, but some of the top Reiki masters in the world. It would be lovely for you to have an opportunity to meet them as well. So check that out. In September, I'll be speaking about animal communication for Reiki practitioners to the International Retreat in Sedona, and would love to see you there. And I'll be leaving from there to go to Hong Kong, and I'll be teaching a variety of classes in Hong Kong. So if you are in Asia, I'll be teaching Animal Reiki 1 and 2 and Masters. I will be teaching Healthcare Reiki, and I'm also going to be doing a special evening event for many of you who've studied with me, animal communication with me in before. I hope you can join us for that. That's going to be exciting. I'll be heading from there to Japan, and I'm just going to miss you, Sue. Unfortunately, you're going to be Japan on my anniversary, and I'm going to have to fly home the weekend before. We're missing each other by a week. Then in October, I do have a full lineup of classes, both online. The Campobello classes are both online and in person, and I do have a full lineup of classes again in October, online and in person at the farm. So would love to have you join us there. I think the master classes are only online, but the level 1 and 2 classes are over the weekend, and they are both. So that's just a super exciting, fun year this year of 2026. It's the year of the fire horse, and I feel like we're on fire. So what do you have coming up that you'd like to let people know about?
I feel the same here, Pam. It's this fire horse here. It's impressive. We started the year with the Reiki conference,
Wow.
and I felt it was this fire horse that was all around here. Yeah, now we are going to have, of course, everything is in Portuguese because I
Yeah.
am Brazil. So this is more for Brazilian people, Portuguese people. We are going to have a Reiki retreat, a Karuna Reiki retreat in holiday in June here in
Nice.
São Paulo, Brazil. Yes, and it is the second time we are giving this retreat, which is really impressive how the healing and the energies and the harmony of the balance and everything works with this retreat, and people love it. And this is going to be in a retreat center that is with crystals all around. So it is, yes, they have huge crystals also in the rooms, the bedrooms. So it is impressive and combines with the energy of Karuna Reiki
Oh.
deep. Yeah. So just perfect.
Mm.
And of course, we are with our classes, our current classes, Reiki 1 and 2, ICRT Animal Reiki 1 and 2, Reiki Master, Karuna Master, and ICRT Animal Reiki Master levels during the whole year. Some classes are in presence, some classes are online, and some classes are hybrid. So we have all these options. And in the end of the year, as you mentioned it, we are going to Japan. So we are going to give the Reiki Masterclass and travel around. It will be awesome. I'm sorry that we are going to miss each other for a
Me
week.
too.
Yeah, but maybe who knows? We see each other soon.
I hope so soon.
Online, I'm so happy that we are seeing each other more.
Me too. You're one of my favorite people. I love hanging out with you. So this is great. Oh, guys, I asked Sue to come on the podcast because I just find that she has so much to share. Sue, I'd like to start with your story. How did you go from being a lawyer, a career in law, into Reiki? What called you onto this path?
Yeah, Pam, as many people of my generation, I was taught since I was young that I had to choose very understandable, strong profession by my parents, specifically my father. In his point of view, I should study in a law school or to become an engineer or a medical doctor.
Okay.
Those professions were acceptable, others no. And he wanted me to become a judge. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yes. And because I didn't accept his authority, I decided to become a lawyer. So so of course I followed his expectations. So I became a lawyer. I decided to go to this area. And we had to decide it so early in our age. Here in Brazil, we decide about it when we are 17 years old. It is so early. We have to decide what we are going to do for the whole life. And law suits me because I think I did it. I did a good job. I like it to learn it and to work with corporate law. So I worked with mergers and acquisitions and agreements, international agreements with trademarks, intellectual property, and also with economic law.
Okay.
So yeah, and it was hard
I
because
was
I
just going to say that's very serious stuff that
yes,
you were working with.
yes, it was, and a very competitive field, and between among the lawyers and among law firms and all of that. And I understood that I was going to be happy if I reached a specific status and in my career that was to become the leader of an international law department.
Okay.
And I achieved it. When
Wow.
I did it, yeah, I did, yes. When I did it, I broke inside.
Mm.
I discovered that it was not what would make me happy. And emotionally, I was depressed. And my body started to have many issues. So I had three knee surgeries during this period of time. Yes,
Oh my
three.
gosh, Sue, you're young.
Yes. And I had to pass through three knee surgeries, and I could not walk properly. The problem was not serious, was not complicated, but it became complicated.
Okay.
And it made me have also problems in my spine.
Oh
That
no.
yes, and it was increasing. The pain was each time worse, and I had to do physiotherapy 2 3 times a week. And I worked in a company that was far from my house, and I had to cross the city every day and work hard. And I had migraines, and I had to go to the hospital almost every week to receive medication.
Gosh, Sue, I never knew this about you.
Yes. So I had a burnout.
Yes,
I had.
no doubt.
Yeah. That moment, during that time, we didn't talk about burnout. It was like she could not handle it. But the point is, it was not the profession. The point was what's going on inside of me. And then I had psychological therapy for 15 years. Yes. And I
Wow.
could not deal completely with what was going on inside of me. It was really complicated. Then what happened is that I slept driving my car.
Oh no.
I did. And I crashed my car in big avenue of São Paulo. The city of São Paulo is a big city. And I was lucky that the person in front of me had a strong car, stronger than mine. And he was not injured. I didn't injure anyone, only me. And I slept. When I wake up with my movement of my head doing like that. Yeah. So the driver of the car in front of me left the car, super nervous. Down here, what you did with my car? When he saw me, he was like, "Are you okay?" It was completely different. And I look at him when I realized what was going on. I just noticed I could have killed someone because it was
Wow.
a big avenue there with people around. So I could
Yeah.
have hurt someone. I could have killed someone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And what happened is that day, I decided that I had to do something. Something was really wrong there in my life, and I had to take a decision about what to do.
Yeah.
And my first decision was to quit my job, the dream job. So I reached that spot, but something inside of me was not well. I had to figure out what to do. And so we decided here with my family that I would do a pause, not
Mhm.
stop
A
completely, but a
pause.
pause.
Yep.
Yes. This moment, I didn't know anything about Reiki, about holistic therapies and this field. But spirituality here in Brazil can be very strong.
Mhm.
So I had passed through healing houses, spiritual houses, who assisted me during this period of time. It was really good. And we have some magnetic work also with the hands in spiritual houses, and they assisted me with that.
Mhm.
So when Reiki came, it was not something so different. Then I always was connected with animals since I was young. And I had three dogs during this period of time. And the dogs were my big part of, like, the big part of my life. They gave me so much joy, but it was interesting that they had many problems with health, and they were born with many problems also. The three dogs I had. The three dogs had hip dysplasia and always had problems with immune system, which I had to. So we were almost every time in medical doctors and veterinaries.
Wow.
Yes, and my dogs, they receive it acupuncture every week because of the pain. And one of the vets told me about animal communication. When this vet told me about it, I never doubt about this existed, how it worked. I wanted to do it. I wanted to talk with my dogs. This was, oh my God, I want to do it. And I took this class. The second day of the class, we could take one of our animals. They took a bird, a cat, dogs, but needed to be calm animal. And I took the older dog, and he was so calm, but he had hip dysplasia. And there, one of the students also was a Reiki practitioner. And the dog, that his name was Logan, and he had pain, and I was going to give medicament to him to heal his pain,
Yes.
to take off his pain. And this practitioner came to me and said, "Do you want me to give some Reiki to him?" I look at this person and said, "Oh my God, okay." I was there, animal communication, Reiki. I didn't know exactly, but okay. She just was there. She kneeled and put her hands on his hips, and I saw him melted there. He
Wow.
was melting. And I said, "Oh my God, I have to learn it." So, animal communication and then Reiki. And I started to look for it. And here in Brazil, we have a person that is a veterinary that was really famous with animal Reiki here, a veterinary also. And I decided to take his class. And I enrolled for Reiki 1 because I didn't know if I should do the Reiki 2. And I was there, and it was so good, the class. Like, oh my God, I needed this. It was like something marvelous coming to my life, this first Reiki 1 class. And I asked him to take the Reiki 2 class that was the next day. And he had only one manual for this class. The class was full, and he had left only one manual, and this manual was mine. So I took the Rachel class, and
Amazing.
then it is. And then I started to, I learned it that I had to give me Reiki. It was so important to receive, to give myself Reiki. And I started to, I was a lawyer, so if there is a procedure, I have to follow it, right? And also, I am a Taurus with Capricorn. So,
It must have been hard for you to learn from me, Sue, when you studied from me. It's
yeah,
like, oh, you could do it this way or that way or the other way.
now I know it, but that time I didn't. So you should do this way, I will do this way. So he said to me, you need to give yourself Reiki during the morning and during the night before sleep. And I did it. So I
My
wake
first Reiki
up.
teacher did too. She wanted us to do an hour, 50 minutes to an hour each time.
Exactly.
Mm.
And I started. So every day in hand
Yes.
position.
Oh, yes. All of them. Every hand position. Yes.
So during the morning, so easy, right?
Mhm.
You wake up, you meditate, Gasha meditation, and hand positions. The Gokai was there. I printed the Gokai and put in my mobile the picture of the Gokai.
So did
Uh,
I.
yeah, so I could do it every day. It was
Yeah.
there, so I would remember it. And during the night, before sleep. I went to bed and started to give me hand positions. And what happens that I slept.
Me too, every time. And I thought I was doing it
But
wrong.
I thought that I did it wrong
Me
because
too.
I didn't finish.
Yeah,
And I
me too.
you too.
Yeah, I
I
thought I was going to get in
was
trouble.
I have to continue and then sleep again.
Yeah, I was embarrassed to admit it to my teacher. I was like, I keep falling asleep at night.
So I'm doing it wrong,
Yeah.
but work it. And I remember the first time I was going to give Reiki to my house. And it was so interesting because I was sitting in the sofa in my living room and I decided to, it was the first time I was going to give Reiki to my house and then I was going to give Reiki to my animals. It would be the first time. And I was like that, sitting in my
Yeah.
sofa, eyes closed. And
For an hour? Because for me, it was about 45 minutes.
I was there. Then I had another dog that was Bruce, my black lab, and he jumped in front of me and he put his head between my hands like that.
Aw.
Yeah, and my husband was there and he took a picture. And it was so I can never forget it in my mind, but we have this picture so beautiful. And it was the first time and I thought, "Oh my God, I'm doing everything right now." And I was a very nervous person. I was anxious and I saw problems everywhere. So lawyers, they seek problems to solve.
Yes.
And my mind was all focused in problems where could be a problem. So I worried a lot. And when I started Reiki, these worries started to melt and I started to be calmer and people start to notice I was changing. It was different. And what happened with Reiki with me is that it opened my eyes. And I started to use the distance symbol to heal my past. So things that I identified with as problems and roots for my problems, health problems, psychological problems, I started to send Reiki to it and my knees started to heal and I didn't need more physiotherapy in my knees. I don't feel pain. I have arthrosis, of course, because they are not so good, but I don't have pain. And
Wow.
I can kneel, I can do many things with no problems. I can hike, I can do many things that I could not do during this period of time that I was younger. And I every my migraines they disappeared. I sometimes I have a small headache, but it passes. I don't go more to the hospital every time. Actually, it's very difficult, and if I have to take a antibiotic, is if I since I got my Reiki attunements, I take twice. I had antibiotics. It
Wow.
is yeah yeah.
It's so amazing, isn't it, Sue? And we have more in common than I even realized in the sense that I too got to the pinnacle of my career growing a company to be the fastest growing company in Atlantic Canada. And so you arrive and you're like, okay, now I'm supposed to be really happy and fulfilled. And but I'm not. So wait a minute, I did everything I was supposed to do. And I was told, I bought into that story that if you just do this, you'll be fulfilled, you'll be happy. And I got there and went, but what? This is this is it. And Reiki just had such a beautiful influence. Thank you for sharing all of that. And Sue, I'm so great. I love meeting you. I was so excited when you decided to become a licensed teacher. You're just, I don't know. I love working with you. And but so does William. William Rand, the president of the ICRT, he has played a really big role in bringing forward the accurate history of Reiki. And as our historian, and I know you're apprenticing with him as part of the ICRT's succession plan. Can you tell us a little bit about that, about William's role in bringing that accurate history forward? Because we all know that when it comes to the history of Reiki, there are different versions out there. Yeah, what are your thoughts there? Or could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so during my journey with Reiki, so I became a teacher after
Mhm.
of this, and started to study. So I used to say what we lived before Reiki. Now I am a Reiki master teacher. I am a Reiki practitioner. I give sessions. I teach. I mentor. All of that. But what organizer of this is also our previous background. So I was a lawyer and I had to study a lot and understand the why of things and cause and consequence and facts. And when I started to study Reiki, I wanted to go deep. And for me, I like a lot history. Not only Reiki history, but history is so important. It makes
Fascinating, isn't it?
Yes, it makes us, in my point of view, it makes us to understand much better the world today. And history for me is basically a way to understand better why Reiki is here, how it came to us, and how to understand how it was taught before. Bring us clarity about Reiki today because there are so many ways of thinking and using Reiki today. And some people think, oh, this way is a wrong way, this way is the right way. And when we go to Usui's history, we understand so much about Reiki. And during this process of study, I was introduced to Usui Tibetan Reiki and to Gendai Reiki. And it was so interesting that William Lee Rand, that is the person who brought the Sweet Tibetan Reiki, and Doi Sensei, that is the person that's bringing Gendai Reiki, they are connected.
Yeah, they're friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Met both of them in Japan in 2023. They both of them together. I took a picture. So
They speak a lot.
And what I was researching about Reiki history, and I found an interview of William Liren with Doi Sensei, and it brought a lot of information about the history of Reiki. And most of this, actually, the full article is here. We have two articles, and they are here in this book. This book is sold by ICRT. You can find it in the store.
And those
Uh,
for those who are listening, it's the book called An Evidence-Based History of Reiki, and it's a selection of articles from the Reiki News magazine.
Exactly. And during my research, I noticed that William and Doi Sensei were bringing this accurate history. So Sensei doesn't speak English, and William was bringing his discoveries to people who speaks English. And because of that, I noticed how his way of thinking, that both way of thinking were aligned,
Mm,
actually. And this called a lot my attention because I didn't had study with William, but here in Brazil, Sweet Tibetan lineage is very strong.
okay.
Yeah, we have many people that are Sweet Tibetan Reiki here, and I was one of them.
I was too in North America before Holy Fire came along. Yeah.
Yeah, and here in Brazil, nobody talked about Holy Fire actually. Nobody knew, I think, about Holy Fire, or some people knew but didn't talk about it. But
Right.
the pattern was so strong.
Yes.
And so I had a teacher who used to say this about William: pay attention because he is the Usui sensei of our time.
Wow.
Yeah. So how could I not pay attention?
Wow, I never heard that before.
But I did
But
from this.
yet, knowing William as well as I do, and even though he's very humble and down to earth, yes, the Yasui Sensei of our time. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, he said that
Wow.
after. And it was not only once, he said many times. And
Mm,
he is a author here in Brazil, author here. And
okay.
he said it many times. And I started to pay attention to seek the website and see the books. And I saw that he also translated this book from Doi Sensei, also
Yeah.
available in English in the ICRT store website.
And this
So
book is a modern Reiki method for healing, revised edition, and it's Hiroshi Doi from the Gendai Reiki Ho. So, yeah, that's also a book. I have those as well, and those are books that we can get from the ICRT.
yes, and these books, they brought to me so much information that we didn't have here in Brazil.
Mm.
And it was brought to us by Usui Reiki Ryoho Gakkai member,
Yeah, Hiroshi Doi,
Yoshidoi.
which is the original Reiki Gakkai or school that Usui Sensei set up. And that school is it's like a private members, like almost a secret society sort of thing. So it's not easily, or it hadn't been easily accessible. I'm really grateful that Hiroshi Doi has reached out and extended that information to us so that it could be shared in North America.
Exactly. And
Mm.
before Doi Sensei, William also connected with Arjava Peter, and Arjava Peter showed William all Reiki special places in Japan. And he taught William the Japanese Reiki techniques.
Teach now still in our courses the Japanese
Exactly.
techniques. Yeah.
That was something that during that period of time nobody talked about. And also, he had classes with Chioko and Tadao Yamaguchi. And Chioko Yamaguchi was a student from Hayashi Sensei, and they teach without Western influence. He had Reiki 1 and 2 with them,
William
too.
did.
William
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
And also with Inomoto Sensei, Hyakuten Inamoto Sensei. And during this, with all these studies, he could bring the evidence-based history of Reiki. And he was one of the first teachers that was telling this to the public. And this was really important. So he had many facts, and he had these publications bringing these facts. And these two books were bringing clarity for me. When I had the opportunity to first have his class, that was during COVID time, I had that first online Reiki master training with him. I made a lot of questions. So I was that student that came, oh, and this, you know about it? Can you tell me? Is it true? And
So you stood out, is what you're saying. You were that student.
yes, I was that kind of student that make many questions there. And then he explained it, everything. And I think his role here was to bring us clarity. So, of course, I don't speak Japanese. I speak English. So I could have this, and I think you had this opportunity too, Pam, as I remember, to ask questions to a person that studied, understood the roots. And it's very interesting, his point of view, because he based it on what he understood about the roots of Reiki. He also identified that his vision of evolution was correct,
Yeah.
was not something wrong that many people can understand.
Yeah.
Because
That Reiki continues to evolve. And I think as he spoke with Doi Sensei and got that accurate history, he was able to see that it began evolving from the beginning. That
exactly.
Hayashi did not teach the way Yusui taught, that Mrs. Takata did not teach the way that Dr. Hayashi had, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. And
Mm.
also today, the members of Usui Reiki Ryoho Gakkai, they say that they do not teach and practice the same way Usui did.
Wow. I did not know that, Sue.
Yeah.
And I had a feeling you were going to drop some bombshells on us that we didn't know. So it makes sense to me that you decided to be the historian, and up until now, William has been the one who's really championed learning the accurate history, learning as much as possible, and he's constantly searching for more information about Reiki. He's constantly talking to people and listening to what they have to say and so on. And so it makes sense to me. So there've been a number. I remember hearing that when William brought the accurate history out, this was before I knew him, a lot of people weren't happy about it because they preferred or wanted to believe the history that they had been taught. And I can remember speaking with William about it, and he's so funny because he doesn't feel a need to try to prove anything or bring anybody to his way of thinking. And he just said, that's okay. If you prefer to do that and teach that way, that's fine. But I'm going to work with what the accurate history is or what the evidence shows me, and therefore the evidence-based history of Reiki. But that being said, I can remember it caused some big waves back in the day when he first brought that forward. And I can remember William has told me that in his conversations with Hiroshi Doi, which have always been done through a translator, at one point, after many conversations, Doi Sensei said, told the translator, or the translator told William, Doi Sensei said he's told you everything he knows. He said,
Yes,
that's it. He's done now.
absolutely.
But that being said, Sue, William let us know fairly recently that there's more. We have some other authors who, like Justin Stein, and you mentioned Olaf Bohm, who are doing a lot of really academic research, and they're finding out some new things. So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Justin Stein, I think, is a person that is bringing a lot of information to us. And he wrote this book, Alternate Currents. This book is really important. So, Alternate Currents from Just B. Stein. This you can find easily in Amazon. And this book brings a lot of information how Sui actually received many information from North America. So it is why alternate currents, because it's the North Pacific current of information during Usui's time. Because Japan was opening to the West, and they had the intention to learn as much they could with the Western society. And
Okay.
with that, many books were translated. Many information came. They went to United States, to Europe to study. And many information that Yusui used to create some techniques actually came from translated book from North America. It's impressive.
I did not know that. And we do have evidence now that Yasui had spent time in North America. So,
Exactly.
mm,
One thing very interesting, it was not Justin Stein discovery, but he brought to us the information, was a resume from Usui from the time that he worked for the Japanese government in Taiwan. So he had to write his resume, and it was most probably wrote by his own hands. And I published an article organizing in an article for Reiki News magazine this information because Justin Stein published a Facebook post.
uh-huh.
And in ICRT, as I'm now working as historian there, and we have all the history of Reiki so organized, and William also always wanted to bring it with clarity, with evidence. We felt need to organize it for article for Reiki News magazine.
I
So
read that.
yeah, so we have a document talking about it, official, not a Facebook post, which is very good because Justin Stein brings a lot of good information in his Facebook page. but he also have great articles
Hmm.
and books. And but for this, he did not do it. But the discovery was from a Reiki group in Taiwan, and they published it in their webpage, and it mentioned that where were the files in the Taiwanese archives. So I went to this Taiwanese archives and I brought my own copy of these archives. And then I worked with that. Of course, based on what Justin Stein also shared with us. So I give all the credit for Justin Stein and for this Taiwanese organization. Okay, it's very important to bring that. So what I did was to organize it and put it to have a document. And this article is going to our Reiki 1 and 2 manual to this new edition. So we'll have this information there.
Wonderful. I think that's the first change to the level 1 and 2 manual in decades or years. So, but
And
that's wonderful. I read the article and I really felt that it shone a lot of light on things like that Yusui Sensei had worked at a Christian boys' school. And there were a number of things. What stood out to you from that?
we learned that Usui was really a teacher and he studied a lot. He was studying psychology with one of the pioneers of psychology in Japan. And he also studied law, some years of law school. And he learned English, Chinese, so he knew how to speak at least three languages. It is impressive.
And he was
Uh,
the head of a Methodist the boys' school, right? Mhm.
so he went to United States. So this story is true because he wrote that he went to United States, studied, worked, and what happens that when he returns, he opens a boys' school that he is from, I forgot the name in English now, but for a Christian organization.
I think it's the Methodist.
Yeah, but there is a name that now I'm missing.
Okay.
It will come. But he started to teach and he organized the schools and he had this connection with Christianity. So
Mhm.
we know that now because he opened this school, Missionary Society.
Mission.
So
Okay. Yes. A Methodist Missionary Society. Yes.
what happens that things that Takata told, maybe it was not accurate. He was not the headmaster of the Shisha University. And there is a theory about the Shisha University that he would change his name and other person. And no, it was not there, he was not, but he had been organizing and opening a school. Also, he worked as teacher and he worked for the government. And now we know the connection with Goto Shinpei, he was the leader of this work that Usui was doing in Taiwan. And after we know that Goto Shinpei was the mayor of Tokyo during the Kanto earthquake, and that Usui helped people in Tokyo during this period of time, and he received an amount of money after that, and in recognition for his work with helping people, assisting people. And we know that after that, he opens more branches for Usui Reiki Hyoho Gakkai, and also he gives the Tori Gate for Tanyai village where he was born and is in a Shinto shrine there.
What
And
is it? Sorry, a what gate?
Tori Gate, that gates that we see in Shinto
Shrine.
shrine.
So he donated it, or he?
He donated,
Hmm.
and his name is there.
Know that. I am going to go visit it when we are in Japan, but
Yeah, go. It's a beautiful place, Tanyai. And they have a shrine there. And there you also have a Reiki organization, and they like to connect with Reiki people there. So
okay.
I can give you the contact if you want.
I would. Thank you. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and yeah,
So we learned a lot then.
yes.
from some of these recent, yeah. Is there anything that surprised you in what you learned?
I was surprised that he had some years of law school.
That stood out to you.
When I saw it, I was, oh my God, he had this class. But what showed me is that during this study of his curriculum, of course, some things we know that knowing that he was a teacher, I feel when I read his studies that he has the soul of a teacher
Mm.
and that he had so many jobs and functions.
He had so many. It like a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
different things. And sometimes we look at our lives and we think if we are going to the right way, if this is our path or not. Like we said here, oh, I worked with business, I worked with law, and then I find out that was not this my path. This was not my path. As you said, for you the same. And sometimes people look at the life and said, I'm doing the right thing. Could I be doing the right thing? We can think about, is this life, this is the thing that I needed to live the way. And then maybe also we had this problem too.
Yeah,
Because
he definitely was a searcher, like a seeking things, wasn't he?
exactly. So it for me looks like he had lots of experience in life as we did. So this is comfortable for me when I see it. I feel comfortable because we also thought, oh, I'm going to do the right thing. So it's law, it's business, what we are going to do. And then suddenly it clicked.
Yep, this is what I'm meant to do. So, with alternate currents, I know that I probably will speak with Justin Stein in the future, but was there anything, what are some of the key things that showed up there that were new to the history of Reiki?
I think what we can talk about alternate currents is about his Takata history. For
I love
me,
that picture of Takata on the cover. She looks so young and vibrant. Yeah.
exactly. I to learn about his her life was very interesting because she was a strong woman. I didn't know so much about how she became a governant in the house that she worked for. I don't remember exactly the name in English, governance, probably is other word I don't remember now. She took care of everything that works in a huge house of a family, very important in Hawaii. Her husband was taking care of the accountant
Mm.
part of his family. So they worked together and they created a very good life for them and for the kids. They had two kids and she had opportunities and she took these opportunities. But the life was complicated afterwards because her husband became sick and they went twice to Japan to seek for medical assistance for him
I didn't
before
know that.
yeah, so this is very interesting, her relationship with her husband, her relationship with Japan. And after he passed and she was sick, she also went to Japan to seek this medical assistance. And how it was, she was introduced to Reiki there is something very interesting because the medical doctor calls his assistant that is his sister actually, and she delivers her to Reiki to heal her. So if you think that was inside a clinic of a medical doctor that was not going to give a surgery to make a surgery. Now it's very complicated if we think about how things are today. Like a medical doctor is going to make a surgery. Oh, I don't want to have a surgery. What can I do? And the person goes to receive Reiki. And the medical doctor says, don't have a surgery, go to the Reiki sessions.
It's not as common today
No.
for that
Oh.
to happen.
And the relationship that she had with Hayashi also, it's very interesting because she brings, Justin actually, he brings a lot of information about the relationship that she had with Hayashi and Hayashi's family, and how Hayashi explained her behavior because her behavior was different from a Japanese woman. She was daughter from Japanese people, but she lived in Hawaii with North American influence. And because of that, she questioned it. And he had to explain her behavior as a bold person.
She was bold.
Exactly. Very interesting. So the personality for me is very interesting. He shows a personality for me that is different from what I learned. But also his explanation about the connections of Usui and how he created the techniques that we now know. And Bios scanning, the use of Mage Emperor also during the practice. They have a selection and they use it, they chant the poem that was wrote by Emperor Meiji, and also how he created Reiji Ho and the breathing technique also. And even the Gokai has an inspiration that came from books that were translated. So many information of these connections
Mm.
that how Usui, because Usui, Reiki, so Shinshin Kaizen, Usui Reiki Ryoho, is what he created. This is the energy, but he created techniques that we could use this energy for
Mhm.
healing and to grow internally. And he received the energy, but how to use it, how
Right.
people learn it, how people can develop the connection and feel. So it was for Usui, it was all about perception. So we have Reijiho and the Biosyn scanning, and this is perception. And it was complicated, but was about perception, how you feel the energy.
And these are
And
Japanese techniques that Sue is talking about, Reiki-ho and distance scanning. These are some of the Japanese techniques that come from the more traditional way of doing Reiki.
exactly.
Mm.
And if we think about how Reiki was taught here in the West, hand positions don't
Mm.
change. You
Mhm.
have to use it, and symbols, Reiki symbols, in order to use Reiki symbols. I learned that we needed to use the symbols in an order,
Me
and
too.
don't use the second symbol without the first symbol. It can harm someone.
Oh, I didn't learn that, but I did learn that to do them in order. And I think we've discovered that Yusui Sensei himself actually only used one symbol, the distance symbol. Isn't that correct?
Well, another book is this one.
And that's the Spanish version, a Spanish book called Reiki Tradicional by Hiroshi Doi. Unfortunately, it's not available in English. It's available in Spanish and Japanese.
Exactly. When I received this book, when I purchased this book, Hiroshi Doi tells here, but he is the only one telling this. This is important to say that Usui only presented the distant symbol, and the first and the second symbols that we say as first and second, they were supposed to be introduced during the period of the second president of Gakkai, Ushida. He doesn't say that was introduced by Ushida, but during the period
During
that
that time.
in that time, so it was not Usui's time. And but he doesn't have a document that can prove it or give evidence to us. So it's very complicated. If we talk about it, many historians and teachers from Japan, Doi Sensei is the only one that speaks it. But he had access to documents and notes that we don't have access. So this
Yeah,
is,
Hiroshi Doi, as I understand it, he is part of the original school or gakai that Yasui Sensei started. And he's also, Doi Sensei is also, I believe, their historian. Is that correct?
I don't think he is a historian, but he
He
plays
has,
the role.
he plays the
So
role and he has access to the information. Yeah. Okay. No.
and what happens is that here he writes this, and I took the master level with him in Japan too. And in the manuals, we have this information too.
Nice.
He brings this information. I prefer to deal with that as a possibility, but not something that we have strong evidence, but a
Yes.
possibility. So this is a possibility. And also for the Gakkai members, and also for the lineage that comes from Choko Yamaguchi sensei, that is the Jikiden Reiki, they teach the practitioners to not attach to the symbols.
Okay.
So you have the symbols to help you to do some healing that for you could be difficult. So he introduced the distance symbol because Okuden, that is level 2 practitioners, had difficulty to do the distance healing. So they could not do it, feel what they call the hibiki, that is the perception here in the hands of the energy of the spots that you have to heal. So some of the Okuden level practitioners, they had difficulty with doing the distance healing. And because of that, he introduced the distance symbol.
Okay.
But he didn't need to use it.
We didn't.
Usui didn't. And it says that for Usui, we need to understand that everything is pure conscience. So, based on that, your mind, your healing, you can reach any time and any place.
The pure consciousness.
Exactly.
I love it. So you're working now with William to create his memoir and how is that going?
So much fun.
I bet you're learning so much.
Yes, and he has great stories about his life. And I think it's very interesting what we are doing. So we are documenting his life and the development of Reiki because since the very beginning he was developing. So he had the Reiki master class with another practice that was Rakuki, and he combined it and created Usui Tibetan Reiki. Then he created Karuna Reiki. Then he receives holy fire, and there is the peace grids around the world. So he developed a lot, right? He has so much to share, and holy fire has so many developments that are so interesting. But everything is based on his background. So he has a impressive background, and he had so many experiences with different kinds of people, and he learned a lot with all of them. But also he is really intelligent, and this all he learned, and he keep it what is important, and he could use it also to understand better how the attunements work and to understand the energy and listen. So the conclusion is what we have today, this big organization that is ICRT. And but the most interesting thing about all of that is not only that he created this big organization and he organized all this historian work, and but I think that all of that happened because he thinks about what's going to be a good thing for people, how to help them. So this is his mindset. How can I help? How can be more organized, but for them? How can we do it better
I
for
think
them?
I love that about him, that his first instinct when he receives enlightenment or information is to share it with people. And to the point that sometimes he shares it too soon, before the office is ready to handle all the questions and when before we have all of the information, because he just is so eager to, yeah, to just share.
Yes, I
Wonderful.
agree. The new upgrade. So everybody's okay, upgrade's coming. But he's sharing all
Yeah.
around and he's feeling and he knows it will come, but he's waiting peacefully about that. So I think it's about it. So how people will have the benefits, how people can benefit from it. So this mindset is what makes this a big organization. So many people thinks about him about a person of business. He wants to make money. This is something that we read in social media. We know about gossips around that, but what people don't see is that he's working in a professional way to make it work for people. Pen. There is a story that I want to share here.
Okay.
As you have the Reiki business book and this business point of view. When I became an LRBT, a licensed Reiki master teacher, here for Brazil, I had to enhance my class prices. I used it to apply the prices of the medium of the teachers, and I
Mhm.
had to raise because we have our numbers here with all the licensed teachers.
Yeah, all the licensed teachers charge the same. Yeah.
Exactly. So this was a problem for me because Brazilian reais they are not so valued. So to use the same price, I would not teach because nobody will would pay.
Nobody
The
would be able to pay
be able to pay exactly.
because of the, yeah,
Or
because of the
just a
dispersion.
small spot of the society, so I would teach for rich people only.
Mhm. Mhm.
And this was not my desire. And I think this is not the ICRT desire.
No,
And I had to talk with William about that because I felt and also you were one of the people that planted the seed for this during the classes I took with you. So what happened was, I was discussing with him about it. And he talked with me one thing important because Brazil people, most of people doesn't have much money. They really, some people cannot have money to eat. So it's very complicated. Our country that's growing, but we have so much poverty here.
okay.
And he said to me one thing that changed everything. He wrote to me saying, in a country that people needs to have a job, when you teach, you are giving a job to this person, to these people. And for these people to live from Reiki, they need to receive a money that can sustain their work partially or full time. So if you charge a small fee, you are not allowing them to charge more and live by Reiki. So I had the responsibility as a licensed Reiki master teacher to teach people that they can live based on their Reiki training.
Yeah.
They can charge amount of money that is something that they can live for.
It's so important. And what a wonderful, receiving money for doing Reiki is something that I always struggled with. And I actually received a similar message, believe it or not, from a horse. And as I was doing animal communication with this horse, he said, look, you need to start charging for this work because the work is important. And if you charge for it, you'll be able to do more of this work. You'll be able to spread more of this work. If you, right now, you're going and working crazy hours to make money so that you can come and give this away for free. But I really love how William told you that you're also setting an example and you're setting a standard. And if you set your standards too low, then that doesn't give your students room to grow. And it
Exactly.
doesn't give them an opportunity to then make a living with this. And he's so wise. I love.
It changed everything. And I saw his message. We agreed. And then I changed my numbers. And well, I have students. So yes, it worked.
So often we get stuck in that mentality, don't we? And I know that we do, and I know that I don't actually give discounts on classes. I know some people do, but I've always found that if somebody doesn't value themselves enough to invest in themselves, they're not going to value the energy enough. And we're just all wasting everybody's time. And I can remember having a student once from the Philippines, and she was so delightful. And so I break my payments up so that they're manageable, so that people can do it that way. And they don't have to pay half or whatever. They can, I think for a level 1 class, they can pay it in 5 payments of $110 each or something. And I can remember this student, she had said something similar, Sue, that the our money is just not worth very much. And I said, I don't give discounts, but you can break it up as much as you want and take as long as you'd like to pay for it. And she said, okay, I can't do the $100 a month. I said, okay, if you can't do $100 a month or every 2 weeks, that's okay. What can you do? She was very specific, $86 a month. I said, that's great. So she began making her payments of $86 a month. She'd studied animal Reiki with me. I think she studied before it was paid for. I don't usually worry about that. I just am not able to send the certificate until that's finalized. And I said, that's no problem. I'll just hold on to your certificate. And I think she did have to miss one payment just from life circumstances, but that's it. And otherwise, she made those payments of $86 a month. And when she sent the last payment, I was so happy. I had a little party, and she was so happy and so proud of herself. And do you know, she has become the animal Reiki person of the Philippines, and she is making a wonderful living now doing what she loves. And I really believe that was part of it, that she invested in herself. And so that's my favorite story about that.
Yeah.
Sue, do you have anything to, you're just doing such a wonderful job in Brazil. I know that you were talking about the conference being in person at some point, and I told you that whether I'm invited or not, I'm coming. And because I really want to come and visit and meet all the beautiful people that I've had the opportunity to meet online a few times now. And but yeah, do you have anything that you want to leave people with before we go into a meditation today?
I think the conference was so nice and it was really good to receive all of you here in Brazil. I think you we also were talking about how is Reiki here in Brazil. And I think what I would like to share, probably people around doesn't know much, but Reiki is really strong here in Brazil. It's getting each time stronger. And you know that here in Brazil, we have the Reiki in our public hospitals. We have public hospitals in Brazil that people don't need to pay for receiving medical assistance. And the public hospitals now, they have Reiki also in some hospitals, not all hospitals. And here in Brazil also is the second country in scientific research about the evidence of Reiki. So yeah, second
Wow.
country. Yeah.
Well, I know that there's a veterinarian, Claudia, who we know from Brazil, who's published a paper on the scientific evidence behind animal Reiki, which I just received recently. I'm delighted
Yeah.
I actually realized that as she was talking about it in your conference in one of the group sessions that I was in. And so I asked her for a copy, and she's delighted to have it shared. I did not realize that you had that much scientific research in Brazil around this. That's amazing.
Yeah, we are the second country. The first is United States. And Claudia Barbieri is colleague, yeah, a student, and also your student too. And she's doing a very good job. Now she's with the CRR too. So yeah, this
The Center
research,
for Reiki Research, yes.
she is there too. She's working with them for the council. So yeah, she's doing a great job with that.
You just gave me an idea. I think I'm going
I
to
know.
bring maybe her and Angela Coles on to talk about the Center for Reiki Research. And for anybody who's listening, if you really are interested, like Sue and I are, about the scientific background around Reiki, just check them out. There's a free membership that will give you access to a lot of the scientific papers around Reiki. They have an annual conference, and this is a sister organization to the ICRT that William had a hand in creating, actually. So it I didn't realize they were connected, but when I was, as a scientist, desperately searching for evidence and science to support what I was experiencing and watching happen, the Center for Reiki Research was who I found, and there's just so much great information there. Yeah. Thank you, Sue, for bringing that up.
Yeah, I thought you would like to know this. But
I
yes,
do.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I think with this information about here, I feel complete, and I would like to thank you so much, Pam, for being here, for inviting me, and you are now in Portobello, great place. I hope one day I will visit you there,
I
take you
hope
on.
you will come to Campobello too. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
a beautiful place. And yeah, thank you so much for everybody that's listening. And I hope this talk could assist you somehow or help you somehow. Of
I hope so too. Will you stay and join us for the meditation, Sue?
course, I would love to.
I love that. Everyone, I just want to lead us in a short meditation today that will connect us with our own lineage of Reiki, whatever that might be. One of the other things that impresses me about William is how open and excited he is to work with every lineage. And I just love that about the ICRT. So I just invite everyone to just take a moment to bring your awareness to your breath. Maybe place your hands in Gasho, activating Reiki, and breathe. And as you breathe, just feel yourself here in your body in this moment. And then just placing your hands over your heart and bringing your awareness to your heart. And just imagining or noticing the beautiful light of Reiki in your heart space. This is your connection to Reiki. And as you sit with this awareness, this Reiki energy in your heart, just take a moment to notice that this light is not yours alone. It has been carried through time, through hands, through hearts, through generations of practitioners, through cultures, all the way back to Mikao Usui. Take a moment to just feel into that connection like a family tree going all the way back. And regardless of how we practice, there are different techniques and tools and beliefs and understandings and interpretations. And just notice that none of that matters. We're all connected and we're all one. And every single person who has ever practiced or taught Reiki has done so with the best of intentions and with a pure heart. And so we take a moment to acknowledge and honor all of the lineages, all of the interpretations, all of the practitioners from the beginning. In this connection, we begin to feel alive, present, flowing, moving, dynamic. You may notice a line of light behind you to your teacher, your practitioner, their teacher, their practitioner. Each of the moments of healing, everything connected. It's all part of the same current. And now that current flows into you, through your crown, into your heart, into your hands. And as it flows, just feel into that deep sense of belonging. You are part of this lineage. You're not separate from it, you're within it, living it, breathing it. And as you sit here in Reiki, you may even ask, how does Reiki wish to express through me? And let's just take a few moments to listen. You don't have to come up with an answer, just allow an answer to flow through. How does Reiki wish to express through me at this moment in time? And just notice what comes up. Now take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, just feel that lineage rooted within you, that history. It's alive. And we take a moment to say thank you to the teachers who've come before us and the descendants who will follow us. We are so blessed to be of this lineage of Reiki, this lineage of light bringers, creating wellness on the earth today, you creating wellness within you, within your circle of influence. And when you decide to come back, bring that beautiful connection to that history back with you. A beautiful sense of interconnectedness, of cooperation, of definiteness, of purpose. You take a moment now just to say thank you to each other. Each group that comes together is divinely ordered, and everyone listening to this podcast, regardless of when you listen, we are all connected. Take a moment to think of your Reiki teacher. Send blessings and thanks to them. And then go back to their teacher, whether you know who it is or not, and so on and so forth until you come to Mrs. Takata, Dr. Hayashi, Yusui Sensei, Doi Sensei, whomever your lineage connects through. Whether you know it or not, just send blessings and thanks back through the line until we land at Macau Yusui. And we say thank you for dedicating your life to the pursuit of Ansunditsume, this form of enlightenment that we bring into our daily lives. It's not something to escape to, but it's something to bring into the here and now. We are so grateful that through your efforts, we get to experience the magic that is Reiki in our everyday lives. Thank you. And take a deep breath when you're ready to come back with that knowledge, that lineage, and that connection is always there. You are part of something incredible. We have an opportunity to share with others on the planet, other people who are ready to welcome this into their lives. Namaste. Sue, thank you for being here, and for people listening, thank you so much for the light that you're spreading in the world. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.